The snow is finally melting and showing me all the work I have ahead of me in my outside spaces. Getting unwanted plants cleared away to make space for an orchard, veggie garden, herbs, and flowers is what I have ahead of me in the coming weeks. It will be a lot of work to reclaim some parts of this space for planting. I'll need to chop and drop large plants, cover the planting spaces with cardboard, and fill out my grow beds using nutrient-rich soil and compost. Living rurally means that some of these things are not available this early in the season. It will be a few weeks before the proper soils and compost are delivered to the hardware store, and I'll be able to start in on these projects. The snow left some damage behind, and I'll need to repair my garden fence. The wood is long past its prime, and I'll soon be replacing it with sturdy T-posts and securing the fencing in place again. I'm hoping this fence may help protect against some common pests like deer. Last growing season at my old property, I barely was able to harvest any of my hard-grown plants because so many pests decided to take it for their own. In the front, a weathered bed begs to be brought back to life. Soon I will clear out the debris, repair the structure, and create a beautiful tulip bed here. These tulip bulbs were originally bought for my old property. I know they will bring in extra beauty to the first spring in my new home. If you've been watching from the start of my channel, then you know that I ordered this spile set for my old property where I had maple trees. I never got to use it because there was a Canada Post strike and this didn't arrive until way after I needed to tap the trees. So I had obviously been planning to use it this year. My new property does not have any maple trees, but I do have red alders. And a lot of people have said you can make syrup out of red alders. It's not as sweet, it has a different flavor. It takes a lot more to make a syrup, and because the sugar content is lower, it also doesn't get as thick. But I'm gonna be setting these up outside, and I have two pretty big red alders, but I can put 3 of these taps in the one big one in the front yard, so that's kind of the plan. I'm going to be using some big water containers to catch all of the liquid, and then I'm going to be using my camp stove to cook it down outside once I've collected it all. Apparently, if you cook it indoors, there's actually like a really stickiness to the condensation from boiling it, and it will stick to your walls. So I'm going to be cooking it down outside so that I don't have that in the house, because this house already has more than enough issues. I'm starting some more of these milk carton greenhouses to go outside, and I'm going to be doing feverfew, some red onion, and some white onion in these. And they will cold stratify for the rest of winter, and then come spring they'll start to germinate and come up, and I can transplant them back out of these. Today I'm going to be starting my broccoli and several varieties of peppers. I have already put soil in these pots and also dampened that soil, so these are ready for the seeds to go right in. I'm going to be starting Romanesco broccoli, Jimmy Nardello sweet peppers, paprika peppers, picnic mix peppers, which are kind of like lunchbox peppers. I've got chocolate beauties, and then I've got the purple beauties also. So these are all sweet varieties. I'm not going to be starting the rest. I have to go get more soil so that I can start the rest of my peppers, but these are the ones I'm going to be starting with today. Now that my rows are planted, I've drawn myself up a little key to the rows. I do this because I really hate the little stake markers that you like stick in and it tells you what the plant is. So I keep track this way, especially because those are all going to change. Some are going to actually sprout, some are not. So this is how I keep track. I have all my rows split up. This is just the order they go over there. So, you know, row 1 is over here, row 8's over here. So this tells me what I'm growing, when I planted it, how many pots, what the seed brand was, and approximately how many seeds I put in each pot. The reason I do it this way is because I like to track the germination rates of the different seed companies. That way I know for next year, oh, these seeds are, you know, really, really great. They have an amazing germination rate, or maybe they don't. This helps me know how many to expect from each pot so that I know and can calculate roughly the germination rate. And obviously knowing when it was planted helps me keep track of when it should be germinating. Now, normally I would put this in a journal, but my journal has been misplaced in the move. So I'm going to be looking for that, and then I'll transfer this into that journal. And that way I'll be able to keep track of this better in a journal. This will easily get lost. So I'll transfer this over into the journal as soon as I find that. So doing a bit of math here, if I have 6 pots with roughly 5 per pot, and the reason I ended up doing that is because there weren't very many seeds left. So I just used the rest of the seeds because they're older seeds. They're from last season already. So I want to go ahead and get them going. If I have extra broccoli, that's honestly a good thing. It can go in the freezer. It's really easy to save, all that kind of stuff. So if we just do 5 per pot, 6 pots, that's 30 plants. And then here we have 6 pots, 3 per pot, so that's 18 plants. So this one's also 18 plants. Sorry, my notes are a little out of order, so I'm having to search for the numbers. Here we've got 5 pots, 3 in each pot, so that's 15. Here we've got 4 pots, 3 in each pot, so that's 12 plants. 4 pots, 3 in each, that's also 12. Here we have 4 pots, so that one's 12, and this one's also 12. So that's roughly, if there's 100% germination rate, that's how many plants I can expect. Now, obviously they're not all going to germinate, and that's why I plant so many more than I need, because I want to be sure, you know, if this only has a 50% germination rate, that's not me saying anything about this seed company or this plant or anything. I'm just using it as an example. If this has a 50% germination rate, I'm already down to 6 plants. Then when I go to put them outside, more of those are likely going to die. So you want to start off with a lot more than you need so that you have plenty at the end to harvest. It is not quite time in my grow zone to be planting things in the tomato group, but I am starting to plan ahead and look at all the tomatoes that I have and making sure that I have all the different varieties that I want, that I have enough seeds for all the varieties that I want, and that I'm prepared to plant them. Generally speaking, I have these scheduled to be planted on March the 1st. The nice thing about not living in a tiny house anymore is that I have plenty of room for however many seedlings I might want, even if they get big. So probably what I'm going to be doing is actually planting these a little bit sooner. And so again, I want to plan ahead. So the ones I'm going to be going with are tomatillos. I really want to make a lot of salsa this year, so I'm going to be planting more tomatillos than ever before. I have nearly a full pack of seeds here. I'm going to be planting everything in this pack. I also have these paste tomatoes as well as Amish paste. So these are kind of the staple tomatoes for me. They're the ones that I always plant because they give me the sauce bases. So tomato sauce, pasta sauce, tomato juice, as well as ketchup and barbecue sauce. I really don't make a lot of ketchup because I don't eat it, but I do like making barbecue sauce, and the base for barbecue sauce is ketchup. So I make a ketchup first and then turn it into a barbecue sauce. Then I have kind of the slicer tomatoes. I've got pink Berkeley, tie-dye. I've got German striped. I've got chocolate stripe. I think that's it for slicing tomatoes. Often I don't even really do a lot of slicing tomatoes because I don't eat a lot of slicing tomatoes, so I'll use some of these as slicing tomatoes. But I really want to expand into more fun types of tomatoes. There are so many types of tomatoes, and a lot of them are really fun. So some of these I'm growing kind of for the joy of it. Like, look how beautiful that tomato is. It's just gorgeous. So I'm growing these obviously to eat, but kind of for fun as well. Then I'm doing a lot of smaller, kind of like cherry tomato size. So I've got Ukrainian purple. They're a little bit bigger than cherry tomato size, but they're a small tomato. I've got Galena, which is kind of supposed to be a little bit like Sun Gold, except not a hybrid. So we'll see. I'm a little skeptical about whether it'll be as good, but I am interested. And then I have tricolor cherry tomatoes, which always grow really well for me. And these are kind of like, I just eat these right out of the garden. They never even make it in the house. This is like garden snacks. I'm also going to be doing a Lucky Tiger, which is kind of that weird middle-sized tomato. There is a hand in that picture, so you can see they're sort of their own weird little teardrop size. I just picked these out because they're really pretty, and I'm not currently growing any others that are really this same size. I'm also going to be doing ground cherries. This is the only thing that grew well in last year's garden. I had so many pest problems that I barely harvested anything from my garden last year, hoping that won't be the case here. But I am going to be doing ground cherries again, so if nothing else, hopefully I'll have those for a garden snack. I neglected to say, the other reason I really like keeping track of exactly what I'm planting is because as long as I get a good harvest, I plan on saving all my own seeds this year. So having records like this helps me know exactly what kind of seed I'm saving, which also helps me know whether the seeds are hybridizing or anything like that later on. So that's the other reason to keep really good records. If you're not somebody that saves seeds, then obviously that's a moot point, but I definitely want to get back to seed saving, and I'm hoping for a really good harvest this year so that I can save seeds and still have a lot to eat. Let's all keep our fingers crossed that the slug population is much smaller this year.